Okay, so we are going to do quadratics in vertex form. Okay, so equations of the parabola. We talked about the parabola and the difference, like how can you find the vertex, how can you find the axis of symmetry, how can you find, looking at it, looking at the graph, you know if it's opening up or down, right? And how can you find the x and the y intercept? That's only from the graph. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually look at the equation and try to figure out all of these from the equation. Okay? What we did yesterday was, or what we did on Friday was from the graph. So if I give you a graph, you can point at them. Right? Now, how can I figure it out from the equation? The equation that we're going to look at for this quadratic function, it's called the vertex form equation. Okay? There's three different equations for quadratic. So there's three. There is the standard form, which is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is the most expanded form. Okay, and then from this form we can't find much. There's only one thing you can find from this form, and it's the y-intercept. Okay, we'll talk more about it when we go to grade 11. So this would be the y-intercept. And then you have the factored form, which we looked at the factored form, but we did not look exactly at what can I find from the factored form, but we did factor, right? Again, we'll look at factored form in more details in grade 11, which looks like this. Remember, you have two brackets with x minus something, x plus something, whatever, right? So it looks like this. And the third form that we're going to focus on today is called the vertex form. And the vertex form look like this. Now, don't worry about the letters. They use these specific letters for a reason, just so they keep it consistent when they're trying to teach. But the form look like this. You have a number, and then inside the bracket you have x minus or plus a number. So you have the x minus or plus a number, close bracket squared, and then plus or minus a number outside the bracket. Okay, so an example for this would be like, let's say if you have y equals 2x plus 3 squared minus 5. Something like this, we call that the vertex form. Okay, and the reason why we call that the vertex form is because you can easily find the vertex from this equation. Okay, we're going to talk all about this. So from this equation, you can find the vertex. And you remember, if you remember on Friday, we said that the vertex is basically the axis of symmetry and the optimal value. Do you guys remember that? Yeah. So that's exactly what you can find from this equation. You can find the axis of symmetry, you can find the optimal value, which gives you your vertex. Okay? So here's what we're going to learn today. So the goal of today's lesson is to understand the meaning of the a in the equation. So what does the a do that's outside the equation? Okay. To understand the meaning of h and k in the equation. So what does the h and k represent? And then finding the axis of symmetry giving the equation. So how can I find what the axis of symmetry is? Graphing. How can I graph it? And then substitution into the quadratic equation. So we're going to learn all about this step by step. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what does that a indicate in the equation. Okay? So when the equation of the parabola has its a value as positive, then the parabola opens up. So remember how we were looking at the parabola and we were saying the parabola is opening up or the parabola is opening down. Now what makes the parabola opens up is the a value. If the a value is positive, then your parabola is going to open up. Okay? When you're feeling positive, you're feeling Sad or happy? Happy. Smiling. Right? So positive, right? Up. So if the A value is positive, the parabola is going to open up. Now, what if the A value is negative? The parabola is going to open down. Now, here's a trick that I always use. Negative starts with the letter N, and where does the N open? Which way? Which way does the N open? Down. Right? Negative A value, parabola opens down. Okay? So if you want to highlight this, so if the A value is negative, then the parabola opens down. So if I'm looking at this equation, which number represents the value of A? Which number is A? Negative 2. So you see that number that comes up like at the beginning of the equation, right? Outside the bracket, that represents the A value. Okay? In this case, the A value is negative 2. So which way does the parabola opens? Down. Okay? So it's asking, using the value of A in the equation given, state whether its parabola would open up or down. So we're going to say that the A value is equal to negative 2. So the parabola will open down. Are we okay with this? Straightforward? Good. So using the value of A in the equation given, state whether its parabola would open up or down. What is the A value in this case? So I have y equals bracket x minus 3 squared plus 5. What's the A value there? Do we have any? So what would it be if it's not there? It's 1. Okay? So if it's not there, that means it's a value of 1. Is 1 positive or negative? It's a positive one, right? Positive A value, so the A value equals to 1. It's a positive A value, that means the parabola opens up. Are we okay with this? Let's look at B. Will it open up or down? Because negative 1, right? It's a negative 1. Up or down for C? Up. What's the A value here? 1 again, right? Are we okay with this? All right. So here's what I want to do, okay? I want to take these 3 equations, and I'm going to go to an app that is called Desmos. Okay, Desmos is a graphing calculator app that if I put the equation in it, then it will graph it for me. Okay, and we're going to try to find out what the vertex is when I graph this, and then we're going to look at the relation between the vertex and the equation if we see any relation. Okay, so I'm going to go to Desmos. Now you guys are gonna have to read these three equations for me, okay? Can you read the first equation for me?
Y equals 3 bracket x minus 1 bracket below 2
Squared, yeah.
and
Plus 2.
Yep.
All right, so let's look at this equation right here, right? And then this is the graph that it came up with. Can you guys tell me where is the vertex? Where's the location of the vertex?
1.
It's 1 and 2, so it's right here, yes? Okay, so 1 and 2. So remember that. I'm going to leave it there. Now I'm going to look at the second equation. Can you give me the second equation? Y equals?
Minus 1 bracket x minus 2 bracket and then below 2
Squared, yeah.
and plus 1.
Okay, and then if I look at this one, it opens down. We know that it's going to open down. And where is the vertex for this one? 2, 1, right? So it's right here. Now give me the third equation.
Y equals 3
Mm-hmm.
bracket x minus 4 bracket below 2
Yeah.
minus 2
Okay, and then where is the vertex for this one?
or negative 2.
4 and negative 2. All right. Now, let's look at the equation, and let's look at the vertex, and let's look at what kind of relation do I have there. Where is the vertex coming from? Okay? So if I'm looking at the red one, which is the y equal 3x minus 1 squared plus 2, we said that the vertex is at 1, 2. In this equation, where do you see 1, 2? So we see a 1, right? That's inside the bracket. And then where do we see the 2? Outside, right? So that 1 and 2, right, correlate to these values. Okay? Now let's see if that happens again for the second. So the second graph, which is the blue one, the vertex is at 2, 1. Okay? So the vertex is at 2, 1. Where do we see 2, 1?
The 2 in the bracket
So the 2 is in the bracket,
and then the plus 1 third.
and the 1 is on the outside. Okay? Now, how about for this one? The vertex is at 4 and negative 2. So again, 4 and negative 2. Okay? Now, remember that a point is x1, right? So any point, when I see the point is x value first, y value second. Okay? So the x value of that point, of that vertex, is coming from the value that's inside the bracket. Yes? Do you guys agree with that? So the 1 here and the 1 here, right? The 2 here and the 2 here. The 4 and the 4.
The square and the 2 negatives, does that make positive?
So that's a very good question. The actual equation, if you remember when I wrote the vertex equation, was y equal bracket the a bracket x minus the h squared plus k. You remember when I wrote that outside on the previous page? Right? Because technically in the equation it's supposed to be negative. Negative and positive keeps it negative, and that's why these are positive. Okay? Because if I'm going to plug in a positive here, it's going to be x minus 1 squared, right? Because if I'm going to plug in a positive. Now, what would you think if the vertex was right here? would you think this is going to look like? So it's going to be y equals whatever the a value is, x, and then what will I write inside the bracket?
Would it still be negative?
Now, it's a negative and a negative. So what happens when I have a negative and a negative? It's going to be positive. So technically, this is going to look like this. Y equals whatever the a value is, x plus 2 squared plus 1. So the x value is opposite to what you see. So if you see in the equation it's a negative 1, the x value is going to be a positive 1 of the vertex. Right? If you see negative 2, the x value is going to be 2. If you see negative 4, the x value is going to be 4. Okay? If I have this, my vertex is going to be negative 7, negative 1, because it's opposite to what I see for the x value. Okay? However, the k value is exactly how it appears. Right? Which is the y value of the vertex. So 2, 1, negative 2, so it's exactly how they appear in the equation. Okay? So, going back here, that being said, what we just looked at, the h and the k value are the ones that are going to tell you what your vertex is. Okay? So, when an equation of a parabola is in vertex form, so it has to be in this form, the value of h and k become the coordinate of the vertex in the equation. So that's going to be your vertex. Are we okay with this? So, if you're looking at this equation right here, state the coordinate of the vertex of the parabola given by the following equation. So the equation is y equals negative 2, bracket x minus 3 squared plus 5. What is my vertex? Vertex is 3, 5, and I have to write it in brackets, right? It's a point. Which direction is this going to open? Down, because it's an a value, negative a value, right? So this is going to open down because your a value is negative. I'm not going to, you can state that. The question is not asking you for this. The question is just asking you to state the vertex. Okay? State the coordinate of the vertex of the parabola given by the following equation. Y equals x plus 2 squared minus 4. What's the vertex?
-2, -4.
Yep. Are we okay with this? So since the part of the equation is x minus h, then h is a negative value to make it positive, so h is negative 2, which we've already talked about this before. Now, if I'm going to, we've already explored A, E, and F. What would be your vertex for B?
3 and 1. 3 and 0.
3 and 0, because technically, since I don't have a k value here, that's plus 0. Okay? But I don't write plus 0. It doesn't make sense that I write plus 0. Okay? So your vertex here is going to be 3, 0. What will be your vertex for C? Now, what's inside the bracket? Remember that it should look like this. You should have x minus h squared plus k. You see, h is under the square. Do I have any value under the square here? So what would it be if it's not there? It's a 0. So that's the same thing as writing bracket x minus 0 squared plus 5. I don't write x plus 0. X plus 0 is x, right? So the vertex for this one is 0, 5. What will be the vertex for D?
0, 0.
Yeah, it's the origin. It's 0, 0. Are we good? Okay, so tell me what you guys remember from Friday with respect to the vertex and the axis of symmetry. What part of the vertex was the axis of symmetry?
Is that what the I don't know why
Remember, you said something, and then I'm just gonna graph something here for you, okay? So if you have this, where did the axis of symmetry pass through? The middle, right? Which is, if I look at this, right? This is my x, this is my y, right? It's gonna pass through the x value of the vertex, right? So if I know my vertex, I know that the axis of symmetry is the x part of the vertex. Yes? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, what is my vertex here? Say it. What's my vertex?